Well, it's a staggering escalation. It's the biggest displacement crisis of our time. We had 2 years to reach the first million, and we had 6 months for the second million, which means things are accelerating in a way that represents not only a dramatic humanitarian problem for the people, not only the refugees, those displaced inside Syria, more than 4 million, the whole Syrian population, but it's also a major threat for peace and security in the region and in the world. And the neighboring countries that so generously are receiving all these refugees are indeed under an enormous pressure and need massive international support.
Can you give us an idea of the logistical challenges trying to care for 2 million refugees?
Well, you can imagine what it means from the point of view of shelter. You see tents, but it's not only tents, it's most of the people live with the community to make sure that water is available for everybody. Jordan is a country that has not even enough water for its own population, and now it has almost more 500,000 people. Look at food. The World Food Programme is providing food to an enormous amount of these refugees. What the Turkish government has done in investment, more than $1.5 billion to support the refugees in Turkey. If you look at medical care, if you look at children at school, we are trying our best to bring children to school. Unfortunately, we are not able to have probably more than 1/3. But even this represents a huge impact in the schools of the neighboring countries that are totally overcrowded. So it is a gigantic challenge for UNHCR and our sister agencies in the UN, for the NGO movements, but especially it's a gigantic challenge for the local communities that are receiving all these refugees and sharing their meager resources with them.
In the last couple of weeks, of course, the conflict in Syria has escalated with this alleged use of chemical weapons. There's been a lot of talk of military intervention. Do you think that would alleviate the humanitarian crisis?
Well, our role is not to discuss military operations. Our role is to help the victims of military operations. And what we have seen in the last few months is a continuous escalation of the war. And we are prepared for whatever other forms of escalation that will happen in the future. Our commitment is with the people that suffer, the Syrian people that has always been so generous, receiving refugees from Iraq, from Palestine, and that is now with the worst plight that we have witnessed for any people in the last 2 years.